Hey everybody, how's it going? Oh, it's so good to see you guys. If I say hustle with ease, how do you feel when I say these words? Hey everybody, welcome to Wellness for Wealth TV. This is episode 84, and I am so excited. I'm your host, Natalia Edelman. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a life and business strategist, a certified holistic wellness coach, #1 best-selling author, and I'm the founder of Wellness for Wealth. So without further ado, this whole series, this whole Wellness for Wealth is designed for entrepreneurial women in their pursuit of greater wellness, wealth, and life fulfillment. That's what we're always talking about here. And I am so excited because I am joined today by Nicole Prentice, who is a very dear friend of mine. We actually met in a mastermind, a mentorship program a few years ago. We've kept in touch ever since. And if I could just say a little quick thing about Nicole, she is a certified NLP practitioner. She's a feminine energy expert. So she is perfect to talk about what we're about to talk about, which is how do you use your feminine power? How do you use your feminine energy to up-level your life? And of course, your life includes your business, includes your relationships, includes so many things. It's about this holistic view, right? She's also a #1 best-selling author, and she's been featured in Thrive Global and Medium. Welcome, Nicole. For those of you tuning in live, let us know. You can ask us questions. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're catching the replay, give us a hashtag replay. And while we're all getting set up, I'm going to go open my phone so that I don't miss any of your questions. But Nicole, welcome. I always love to start the episode with, how you got here. What's your story? Because Wellness for Wealth, it's all about overcoming whatever it is. And I know you've learned to master your feminine energy, and this is what you help women with now. So let us hear it. I'm so curious while I just get set up here.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. And hello, everyone. So like Natalia said, my name's Nicole Prentice, and I'm a feminine energy expert. And I found this through my journey as an entrepreneur. And so before I joined my first coaching program with Natalia, I was in a male-dominated industry. So I was a financial analyst working from a place of data and strategy. And after a few years in this industry, I was burnt out, I was unfulfilled, and I knew I wanted more out of life. And that's when I decided to pursue being my own business owner and launching an online coaching business. And when I did this, I was after more happiness and fulfillment. And yes, it was about the financial freedom, but it was about the lifestyle and the inner happiness, because I didn't find that when I was in corporate. So I launched my coaching business, excuse me, and I was in my masculine. I was hustling day in and day out. And I thought in order to be successful, I had to always be in go, go, go mode, because that's what I was used to in my corporate environment. That's what I saw around me in society. And a few years into my business, I was seeing results, but I felt like I was trapped. I felt like, in a way, I was wearing a mask where I wasn't showing my authentic self because I was afraid of being judged. I always felt like an imposter. And I took a step back and I was like, what's going on here? Like, I started this business for more joy and happiness. And I was even more unfulfilled in the first place, working my butt off. And I was like, okay, something needs to change. So I was reading a book by one of my mentors, and I saw the word feminine energy. And this is like a buzzword. I'm like, that sounds interesting. So I started doing research. I started buying books about feminine energy, going on Google, and just finding out what it really is. And from that point, I started to implement practices in daily habits. I was doing it myself, and I started to see a huge change in my life. My relationships were better, they're more aligned. I had better my mental health was healthier. I was more fulfilled. My business started taking off, and I was aligned with what I wanted to do. And I felt like I could finally show up as my full self, my authentic self. And that really helped me to stay aligned with my vision. And that really led me to teaching other women how to feminine energy, because there's this huge unbalance in our society where we're all in the masculine because that's what we think we need to be in. When really our feminine energy is our superpower. And as women, this is our greatest strength to help us really skyrocket our impact, income, and have better relationships and happiness and so on, because that's our inner truth. And I help my clients to do this and to bring that balance into their life so they can have better results, but also to have a better life in general. So that's who I am. And feminine energy has been such a breath of fresh air. And I feel like the next wave of holistic health and wellness that we're all just realizing this is our superpower and it's time to start utilizing it.
I am just loving everything you said because, no, really, because feminine energy, feminine power, this is, and we're not talking about gender here, right? Like, this is, you said it, like, you're masculine, you're in your go, 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 you're very active. In your feminine, you're very more with the flow, and we can talk about more. I'd love to hear your insight in terms of what the difference is, but I know it in terms of yin and yang. I love yin yoga, which is more restorative. It's, you hold your poses longer, you go in, you work with like your connective tissues. It's not like a typical hatha or vinyasa yoga where you're going from pose to pose and it's very active, very warm, or hot, maybe you could even say it like that. But I love how you said this word alignment. And I know that word gets thrown around. So we're talking about a few things that get thrown around: feminine energy, alignment. But I think it's so key. And this is coming up in a lot of my inner circles right now, because we are, like, I haven't met a single entrepreneur yet who hasn't come from some kind of corporate world. And me being from wealth management, that was super male dominated. And I could feel myself playing small because I felt like it, like you, like it was go, go, go. You have to, be in this masculine energy to really get anywhere, to be taken seriously. And then we come into entrepreneurship and we're like, okay, now we're here for more joy, we're here for more fun. And you're still in this like go, 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 feeling like you need to show up in a way that's like somewhat commanding. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. And it doesn't feel authentic, like you were saying. And so I feel like this is everyone's journey where they get into entrepreneurship, they, kind of fall into the same habits of like, I gotta hustle, I gotta go, I don't have time for myself, I don't have time to like go for walks, or what do you, even though our intuition and our body tells us you need to slow down, like headaches, hip pain, like all these. I had a huge headache yesterday. I was telling Nicole before we got here, and I just like literally shut down. And you just have to do that sometimes, and that's you stepping into your feminine, I think. So I'd love to hear from you, like, what is your, I don't want to say definition, but how would you kind of describe the difference between masculine and feminine energy? And I just want to say hey to Sakshi and hey to Lena. So nice of you to join us.
Great question. And this is something that's, it can be kind of hard to define because it's not something that you can physically touch or measure. It's something that you can feel. And when you think of the masculine and feminine energy, think of it as like a scale. So one side there's masculine, the other side there's feminine. And they're opposite energies, but they complement each other. So what that means is no matter what gender you are, you can access both your masculine and feminine energy. And the beauty is that each energy has its strength. So for instance, the masculine, it's very results oriented, data driven, go, go, go. And the feminine is softer. So that's more of like being in your flow, intuition, being in your creativity, about collective as well. And one of the main differences that I love is masculine is assertive and the feminine is attraction.
Ooh, yeah, I love
So
that.
I always think about when I'm doing marketing, if I'm using assertion, which is masculine, I'm always working the DMs, and that's something that's very forceful. There's a lot of energy going in. But if I'm more in my feminine, I'm using attraction and putting out content, putting out all this value, letting people come to me. So the why it's so powerful to understand the differences, because you need both in your business. Like you do need to access your masculine, because if you're always in your feminine, you wouldn't move as fast. It would take a bit longer.
Yeah.
But you definitely do need that drive and that focus when it comes to doing money making activities.
Yeah.
And having the two together really helps you have that balance, but also helps you have the greatest ability to skyrocket your business, because you're bringing your unique strengths and people and your authenticity that people are drawn towards.
I love that. And I just wanted to say hey to Delora. Thanks for joining, lovely. Um, I love that as like this balance.
Yeah.
And when you say like you bring both into whatever you're doing, like whether it's business or, your relationship or even like your food and stuff like that, and your exercise, right? Like I talked about yin and yang yoga, and it's really important to take the rest. Like a lot of people think, well, if I rest and I slow down, that means I can't go as fast. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's then being in your masculine. And it's like, you do need those rest days, and you do really need to listen to your body and and for your mental health. Like all of this is coming together. And I love how you said like this is this 360, because I work a lot with the holistic wellness piece, your
Hmm?
12 life elements. And I think adding or taking that perspective of feminine and masculine energy into each aspect is so important. Why do you think successful women, especially, why do you think they resist their feminine?
I love this question. And it's interesting because when I do like presentations, most women are like, yeah, I just never thought to investigate this. And that's because there are a lot of negative messages in our society and culture about what it means to be feminine. It could be you're weak, you're powerless, not as productive. And personally, when I started my journey of really embracing my feminine, I did some digging work to figure out, okay, what's in the subconscious? And I found that my thoughts were if I were in my feminine, I wouldn't be as successful or be taken as seriously. And a lot of that goes back to our culture, yes, but also my experiences in the workforce. I felt like it was not safe to be in my feminine because I wouldn't be respected in my community,
Yeah.
my professional community. And there's a lot of evidence against that, because it's so not true. And it really is our superpower. But that's why, because we feel it as a weakness. And when we're seeing this as a weakness, it's no wonder that we don't explore it, because we think it won't help us. But in reality, slowing down and really embracing your intuition, magnetism, that will help you see better results in all areas of your life.
Yeah, I 100% agree with this. And I think I was just listening to a mentor of mine the other day, and she was giving this example of, and it was from one of her clients, and she was in this program, and she was like, oh yeah, I want to like increase my income, which is kind of even in itself a bit masculine energy wise, but and the things that she asked her to do was like, okay, I want you to listen to your intuition. I want you to ask yourself, like, what do you feel you need to do? Like, what are your guides telling you? What are you, and like, however you kind of think about this, like, I really do believe I have guides all around me just helping me.
Yeah.
And when I ask for help, they send me messages. Like there is something that comes through. It's like either, slow down, color, call this person. Like, when you get those, like, seems to come out of nowhere. It's like, you need to talk to this person, like, or you
Yeah.
need to send Nicole a message, like maybe we need to do this. So I'm just kidding, but like she I think for like 2 weeks, all she felt like doing, or all she felt called to do, all of her intuition was saying was like, just color for like 2 weeks. And a lot of us are thinking like, color, like what? Like, I don't have time to color for 2 weeks. Like, that's insane. But when you think about it, she had like, or not when you think about it, but the ultimate result was like after those 2 weeks, after she gave herself that space and time and listened and followed her to intuition, all of a sudden she had this huge download and she was like, she put this whole program together and like she made, I think, 35 grand in the next like 4 weeks. And it was just like, I want to bring that example in. And it's not my example, but it was just an example from someone else I know. And it just, sometimes you think like, oh, I'm procrastinating, like, oh, like I shouldn't not be doing, like this is bad, like I should be working my ass off. But actually, like if you do give yourself that space and time to step into your feminine and to just be, right? It's not about the doing, that's the masculine, it's about the being. You can come out of it completely renewed, completely recharged. So that's kind of why I wanted to share that example. Can you think of anything that you wanted to share, or something common you see in terms of what happens when people, do start listening to their intuition? And maybe after we'll talk about maybe some tips, like how can you listen to your intuition more, develop that, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But
Yeah, so it's funny. I was painting yesterday. I don't know if you can see it on my hand.
oh yeah,
I couldn't get it off before. But that's something I've been doing a lot because, like the example that you said, is you get the best breakthroughs and realizations when you listen to your intuition. And my definition of intuition is feeling your inner truth and like that nudge. Like you mentioned, you'll have like someone saying like, reach out to this person, do this. And I've been doing something similar where a past business coach, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I told her my new focus. I'm like, what should I do next for my strategy? And she said, follow your nose. I'm like, what does that mean? So I was really thinking about that. And it was all about following my intuition. And it's been interesting because since I started to do this, it's been a few months now, I've felt more alignment with my strategy. Because when it comes down to it, there are a million different strategies that you can have in your business. And one strategy that might work great for one person might not be in alignment with someone else. And what I found is the best strategy for me was one that I kind of I had to create. And I created it through listening to my intuition, for just feeling what felt best and following that. And what I find so powerful is when when you can listen to your inner truth and your intuition, you have more motivation and you have more clarity on what you need to do because it's coming from your inner truth. And I don't know about you, but when I first started my business, I was consistently researching others, their business models, their programs, what they were doing. And I saw that they're having success. So I would model my programs after theirs. I would model my copy after theirs. And what works well for them didn't work well for me because it wasn't my voice.
yeah.
Like you mentioned with that example, when you're able to really think about like your strengths, your superpower, what's important to you, that's when you can create a program that really has a lot of meaning to it. And that authenticity will show up when you're selling it, when you're delivering it. And that will bring more money as a result.
That's so perfect. I couldn't, like that. That's gold right there, Nicole. That is so awesome. Because I think everyone feels that when they first start a business, or they're first, like, even starting, no, I'm going to keep it with entrepreneurship, but like
Okay.
you do, I mean, we all do it. I don't want to say, yeah, comparisonitis. I was like,
Yep.
maybe I made that word up. I'm not
Oh,
sure,
it's a
but
word.
um, where you are like, you're like, okay, well, and there's a huge difference between like, understanding your market, knowing where you kind of fit in. But there's also something so incredible about trusting yourself. And I think that really comes through with intuition as well. And that's one of the ways it can become stronger, at least that's what I found, is when you start to trust yourself and just have this, it's not tunnel vision. It's just like this focused eye on your own vision. And suddenly it doesn't even matter what everyone else is doing, because you are so in your element, and
Mhm.
you're like charting your new path. And you said this word, you magnetize people. You start, like, people are like, oh my God, I don't know what she's got, but I want what she's, whatever
Yeah.
whatever she's doing. um and that's where this whole like idea of abundance comes through, because it's like there's
Mhm.
millions and millions of people on this planet, and you are like a match to just a certain amount of people that need what you need, or that need what you have, and vice versa. um and so I loved how we kind of just like drew that all together. Now if people are like, well, how do I start using my intuition more, or how do I like know that I'm using it? And this kind of does go back to this trust factor, because you just have to kind of trust the process and trust that you are. But do you have any like last kind of remarks on this before we kind of?
I do. So what has really helped for me is really turning off a lot of distractions that I used to numb myself. And that could be drinking, watching TV. I don't do drugs, but that's one of them. And there are a lot of activities that we can do to really take our focus outside of our body externally. And that keeps us from really tuning into our. So I've stopped really watching TV. I do every once in a while. And I've really tuned into ways that I can be inside my body. So I go on walks a lot without music, just being in nature and my surroundings. I love to draw, to paint. Meditation's really huge for me, and journaling, because all of those activities allow you to have more awareness and presence in your body, because
Mm.
that's where your inner truth and inner wisdom is. In our womb space, I'll just go briefly into this, is in our pelvic bowl.
Yeah.
And that's where our feminine energy comes from. And by activating that through movement or creativity, that allows you to start to tune into your inner guidance. And when you're doing this, you're changing your energetic state, which changes your energetic presence. So, like, you'll be more magnetic. You'll have this more energy about you because you're changing from the inside out. And that's how you make the biggest switch. You can't do that externally, it starts from within. And just finding ways to slow down and to look within and then listen to that, that's a good way to start.
I love that. I love that. There's like when you're talking about the sacral, like even like I think about like the sacral chakra,
Mhm.
where that feminine power, that feminine energy is. And there's lots of different like aromatherapy oils you can use, and there's
Yeah.
yoga poses. And but I love this idea of like getting out into nature. And I know it's winter, so for those of you who are in freezing cold places, it's like, I don't want to go outside. And by all means, like if you feel called to watch Netflix. Like I totally hear what you mean. I totally relate. Writing is big for me. Drawing, painting, reading, and they don't have to be just like business books. They can be like, fun, fantasy books. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I think whatever your outlet is, like whatever you find joy doing, right? That's how you
Yes.
activate that feminine power. And I'm always telling my clients, like, how can you bring more joy into what you're doing? Like, is it throwing on your favorite dance music, or not, maybe not a dance music, but like your favorite meditation or your favorite song, or cooking your favorite meal, or whatever it is. But it is about bringing that joy, and that's really nice to talk about when we just kind of wrap up the feminine energy piece. So if people want to get a hold of you, Nicole, where can they find you? What's the best place?
Yeah, so I'm active both on Facebook and Instagram, but Instagram's my favorite.
Cool.
So my handle is Nicole Prentice _. And I'm always there sharing tips and tricks. And thank you so much for having me today. I absolutely loved that conversation.
Yeah, it was awesome. And thanks for everyone tuning in. It was great to see you guys. And we'll be back soon. So thanks, Nicole. Thanks, everybody. I'll
Thank
talk
you,
to you soon.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.